It's midday right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics, where we'll bring you up to speed with the big happenings in politics and the polity. As a matter of fact, we're live in Lagos and Johannesburg, giving what is playing out in the nation of South Africa. But let's bring you the headlines. About 271 Nigerians arrived Murtala Mohammed International Airport from South Africa. Well, in fears of xenophobic attacks, and citizens led June 30th deadline for undocumented immigrants to leave the South African nation. Court grants presidential candidate of the African Action Congress AAC, Sowore, bail with sureties after alleged cybercrime allegation. Thanks again for joining us on the program. I'm Jeffrey Ozama, and as a matter of fact, we are touching base with somewhere around Murtala Mohammed International Airport, where the Nigerians have arrived, and also somewhere in Johannesburg, where the protest, the March and March protest, is taking place. Now we can tell you they can heave a sigh of relief as they touch down motherland, and that captures the sentiment of another batch of Nigerians evacuated from South Africa who arrived in Lagos moments ago. So those are the visuals you're seeing. The flights carrying about 271 Nigerians landed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport before 11 a.m. The evacuation flight departed Johannesburg at approximately 5 a.m. local time. The latest evacuation is part of the federal government's ongoing voluntary repatriation program for Nigerians seeking to return home amid rising anti-immigration tensions in South Africa. The exercise also comes against the backdrop of today's deadline declared by vigilante groups and other organizations demanding the departure of undocumented migrants from South Africa. What is Operation Udida or March on March? That march is ongoing as we speak, especially in Gauteng province, which you have Johannesburg. So let's join our correspondent, Innocent Samosa, who is on ground to bring us up to speed as to what exactly is playing out as we speak. Innocent?
Good afternoon, Jeffrey. Indeed, we're coming to you from Johannesburg. We have moved from CBD now. We are coming to you from the Hillbrow police station here. This is where the march is supposed to end, but I'm told that the different marches, they are breakaways. They go to different parts in the city, really pushing for the government to really listen to them. But of course, Jeffrey, before I bring it back to you, I have a guest with me, someone from Zimbabwe who is really worried about this issue, is concerned about this issue. Baba, thank you so much for your time and welcome to Channels Television. You are from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
The issue is affecting you as well. How do you feel?
Yes. The issue is affecting us very deeply. Because as Africans, I think government should have put in place a measure of accommodating each other in terms of how we've integrated into the communities of South Africa. Right now, we are being pushed as in a wrong element or narrative that we are unwanted. But most of the Africans would come, especially Zimbabweans. One of them, they're like hardworking, they're here to work for their families. They're faced up with a lot of things that are happening back home, which is hunger. We are here because people are here to survive. And then as neighbors in South Africa, we share a common historical integration line in terms of Zimbabweans and South Africans. But it's never understood, it's never taught to the South Africans.
So the two governments are failing citizens, is that what you're saying?
The two governments are failing to address the issue as to accommodate each other. The South African government should have a plan in place to accommodate Zimbabweans and register them in terms of giving them documents so that they are not in this country illegally. People do apply, but they're not getting the right documents. That is being pushed. At the end of the day, people are going to look for a simpler way. That is to be undocumented and live because they are suffering.
So talk to us then about if you're going back to Zimbabwe. Are you leaving your business here? Are you living in properties and any furniture? What's going to happen to that if you're going back to Zimbabwe?
When you live with your property. In my business, I carry with it. So at the end of the day, South Africa is going to lose some of the business from basically Africans who are trying to make a living. Yeah. So they are contributing a lot into the South African economy. Yeah. The small scale business it's a fast consumer for South African economy. It adds up a revenue. Yeah. So the little things that people are not noticing is that if the South African break away from Africa in terms of what is happening, it's a wrong narrative to the whole of the continent.
All right, Bob, thank you so much for your time. Jeffrey, there you have it. It does seem as though there's a lot of uncertainty for people who are owning businesses here, who have properties in the country, as to what happens next beyond this marches. Because you would know that there are people who have invested heavily in the country. So it's going to be interesting, Jeffrey, to hear what the government says in terms of, what's going to happen to these people's properties. But of course, we're expecting the march to end here at the Hillbrow police station. Right now, I'm hearing noises that side. It means that some marches is moving towards our end. We'll, of course, be keeping you abreast with what's happening on the ground. Jeffrey, it's back to you.
Innocent, thank you so much. We're going to keep eyes on the Hillbrow airport, the police station, to ensure that if anything new happens, we'll touch base with you. But must thank you for your reporting.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Now, the big question again, we did ask the acting High Commissioner of Nigerian High Commissioner to South Africa, Mr. Ajayi, earlier today on our sister program, breakfast program, The Morning Brief, about what happens to the property of Nigerians, what happens to their cars, what happens to their business. Now that they are leaving, the ones that are leaving, they're taking this opportunity to come back to Nigeria. This is what he had to tell us.
We have agreed that we are going to document, we are going to ask our people who are returning to begin to document what they are leaving behind. And that was the message yesterday before this set that are due to land in Lagos. I've asked them before they left yesterday to document very accurately those things they were leaving behind in terms of businesses, in terms of even cars, movable properties and immovable properties, so that we can now take it up with South African government. That is the next step we are going to do. So this repatriation is not going to end just taking people to Nigeria. We are going to systematically follow up on those things, those informations given to us. And I told them to be very accurate with what they are going to give, because we are going to work with the South African government with that, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the police, to get the exact location of all these businesses and shops, and properties, and presented it to the South African government for possible compensation, because we will not, allow the properties, the labor that people have suffered to build over the years to just go down the drain or be taken over by some people.
Well, so that's the latest coming from the Nigerian High Commission in South Africa as to what's the fate of the property and the assets of Nigerians who are leaving South Africa. In fact, it even gets complicated at some point, because there are people that got married to South Africans. So whether it's the man or the woman in this case, what really happened? So negotiations and conversations are ongoing while this heat is being, they're trying to taper the heat diplomatically. Well, the South African government has come out to say, whatever happens today, the government did not give this deadline, and they will hold the people that are organizing this march responsible. So everyone is literally looking at the South African nation to see how they will respond to what plays out today. That's why our guys are in South Africa to make sure that they give us updates as they unfold. As a matter of fact, we told you about the arrival of 271 Nigerians who are being sorted as we speak at the airport to their various destinations. But we'll just move away briefly from the issue of the anti-immigration protests taking place in South Africa to tell you what played out a moment ago, where Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court has granted a 200 million naira bail and 2 sureties to the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress and online publisher Omoyele Sowore. In a ruling, Justice Umar ordered that one of the sureties must be a traditional ruler from Sowore's community, and the other must have a landed property in Abuja. The sureties must also be verified by the prosecution. The court also ordered Sowore to deposit his international passport with the Deputy Chief Registrar of the court. The judge further handed over the defendant to his lawyers and adjourned the case to Monday, July the 6th, for Sowore to open his defense. Well, in a moment, we're going to be having a chat with someone who understands the diplomatic community and how it plays out. But we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're still touching base with everywhere we can for the updates on this issue about xenophobia in South Africa. But let's continue with the rest of the program and tell you how the United States has disclosed that a cache of seized materials from terrorists during its recent raid in Nigeria was the largest haul of enemy electronic equipment recovered since the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. According to the U.S. government, it had deployed an additional aircraft to evacuate electronic devices and other electronic and intelligence materials seized during the counter-terrorism operation due to the sheer size of the equipment. The disclosure was made by the United States Deputy Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Counterterrorism at the National Security Council, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, during an interview with Marisa Strait, the CEO of Paruga, a U.S. conservative media organization. Dr. Gorka described the Nigerian mission as one of the most significant counterterrorism successes recorded by the administration, likening the operation to scenes from a Hollywood action thriller. He also revealed that the U.S. intelligence agency had begun to examine the devices confiscated to gain deeper insight into the communications, network, and operational methods of the Islamic State. He said the particular operation resulted in the killing of 199 jihadis in a single raid, which he described as the largest enemy neutralization in single counterterrorism operation since the September 11 attacks in 2001. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudera Kekerekun, says that while artificial intelligence, that's AI, and other emerging technologies are reshaping the administration of justice, they can never replace the constitutional duty of judges to determine legal rights and obligations. Justice Kekerekun made this comment while delivering the keynote speech on Monday at the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos Branch 2022 Law Week theme Beyond Disruption, Redefining Legal Practice at the intersection of law, technology, and justice. According to the CJN, every major technological advancement ultimately ends up before the court, where it must be tested not only for innovation, but also for its compliance with constitutional principles, fairness, and the rule of law.
The opening ceremony of the NBA Lagos Law Week attracted judges, government officials, as well as members of the inner and the outer bar. The Law Week had the theme, Lawyering in the Digital Age, and the keynote speaker, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, spoke to the sub-theme, Beyond Disruption, Redefining Legal Practice at the Intersection of Law, Technology, and Justice.
Technology is an instrument of justice. It can never become its substitute. Judicial decision-making involves far more than applying rules to facts. It requires the interpretation of constitutional values, the assessment of credibility, the balancing of competing rights, and the exercise of judicial conscience. Those responsibilities cannot be delegated to algorithms.
On judicial reforms, the CJN said the judiciary has made significant progress through electronic filing and virtual court proceedings, even as she disclosed that plans are underway for the rollout of a national case management system.
This represents one of the most significant institutional reforms ever undertaken by our apex court. Thank you. Closely aligned with this initiative is the forthcoming unveiling of the Supreme Court mandatory upload of electronic copies of processes, record of appeal, and other matters, practice directions 2026.
On its part, the Lagos State government restates its commitment to leveraging technology to improve the judiciary.
Accordingly, we have continued to leverage technology to improve public service delivery, including the justice sector, through electronic filing, digital case management, and other technology-driven reforms aimed at making justice faster, more transparent, and more accessible.
The leadership of the NBA Lagos says the branch will continue to work with stakeholders to strengthen the justice system and the profession.
I must be fair to the judiciary that the challenges are not limited to the judiciary. Part of the challenges we face as a nation come with interconnectivity issues, the absence of power, and that's the reliance on technology. It's not a standalone. It has to be in an environment that works. So we'll continue to engage with relevant stakeholders, Lagos State Judiciary, the National Judicial Commission. We'll continue to engage and hope that our feedback will be taken on board, and we continue to refine the systems which we must adopt. We don't have a choice.
Over the next few days, the lawyers will also confront increasing incidents of data breaches, compliance, ethics, and the question of fair remuneration, especially for the younger lawyers. Shola Shuyeli, Channels Television News.
More stories now. The River State House of Assembly has started investigating issues of land grabbing leveled against the former chairman of Obiakpo local government area, Chijioke Ihunwo. This followed the presentation of 2 petitions to the House by the lawmakers representing the constituency. Addressing the Speaker, she said it's the first petition titled Imminent Security Breach, Threat to Life Destruction and Forceful Occupation Takeover of Property by Disorderly Lawless Persons in Obiakpo local government was from the current chairman, Gift Wallo, while another was signed by Vincent Amadi. And let's bring in our guest who understand some of this diplomatic conversation on the issue of xenophobia, Ambassador Catherine Udida. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let me look for that. I'm spoiled for choice. So let's get started with what is playing out so far. The government of South Africa had constantly maintained that if there is, well, Cyril Ramaphosa this time, the president of South Africa, has said, look, you understand the grievances or the call by the protesters for undocumented immigrants to leave their country. However, he's mentioned that that responsibility of verification and authenticating and eventually repatriating should lie with the government, not the people. But despite nationals, evacuating their country just like ours did this morning, it looks like the pressure is still on. As a matter of fact, one of the groups, the March on March, is tactically distancing themselves from the June the 30th deadline, which is today. But people are taking, cautious steps to avoid being hurt and being harmed. We understand the Nigerian was even killed, I think somewhere in Johannesburg or in the Gauteng region. How do you interpret all this? What can pass for direct yet multiple mixed messaging?
I didn't get the question. I lost you momentarily.
Yes, I wanted you to help us with what you make of the mixed messaging coming from South Africa.
Regarding what?
I'm talking about what is playing out in South Africa. What's your impression?
Oh, for us as a country, we are doing everything possible to bring our people back, and that's our main focus.
So talk to us about, let's stay with the bringing our people back. We did have a conversation earlier today with the acting High Commissioner to South Africa, Mr. Ajayi, who talked about the people's businesses. Have you had conversation with some of those that have returned? What kind of things are they telling you?
Of course, it's been a very difficult time for most Nigerians or most foreign nationals in South Africa. And so our nationals have come with lots of tales of woes and trauma and difficulties. And so what we are doing as a country and all the agencies responsible for return is to ensure that they are properly reintegrated back into the society.
So your role as Migrant Affairs Department, what exactly do you do?
You know, the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons is the coordinating agency on all migration-related issues in the country. And we are the lead agency for returns, readmission, and reintegration. And so our role is to ensure that we welcome all our nationals back, and then we provide the mental health and psychosocial support, and then, of course, provide durable solution when they settle in by providing them with skills training and all other livelihood supports. Today, they have a dignity pack we call the welcome pack with all their necessities, which will be distributed to them.
So when you interact with these people, I'm sure you have an idea of their social strata. Some are business people. Are there people that are not business people? What kind of things were they involved in South Africa? Because I know that NITCOM chair, Abike Dabiri, had mentioned that everybody that had returned in the first batch was not committing any crime. It's just that they were doing their lawful businesses, perhaps they were undocumented. And this undocumented status has to do with home affairs. Some of them have applied for many years. They've not been able to get anything out of it. So what kind of jobs, what kind of things were they doing in South Africa from what you see and what you've heard? And what are the alternatives being provided for them to settle in as they've returned back to Nigeria?
You know, usually before any Nigeria returns, we check for their, status, ensure that if there are vulnerable Nigerians there, we provide for them before they come. So for now, the last time we had different sets of people that came in. Some were, businessmen, some were employed in some of their training institutions and all of that. And so largely most of those who came back had something to do in South Africa. Some were there on regular status, and just like you've mentioned, due to administrative bottlenecks, they did not get their permits renewed on time, and then of course became fell into the irregular status. So what we do is when we receive them now, we are giving them forms. They will give them forms, profile them, and then like the last time we saw that some people were involved in businesses. Some businesses were already destroyed. Some were able to salvage a few things. And then some have skills that we think we can use in the country. So what we do is we get them retrained, fit for purpose for some companies in the country and things like that. So we are prepared for them based on what we discover today from the profiling that is ongoing.
Interesting. So have there some of them told you, is it about greener pasture or ease of doing business? What is the driver here that makes them, because they have different stories. What is the driver for making South Africa a destination of choice for them? Because that could be a lesson for us to provide such environment down here to minimize this immigration.
Migration is a human right. Migration is a human right. People go everywhere. It's a matter of choice. People want to go around, experience other countries, and a lot of people are also in Nigeria trying to also explore what they can, experience in the country. So there are various reasons why people go out. And so I don't think there are any other reasons other than the reasons that any other human being goes around. Even for greener pasture, to go to school, to explore just another country, and things like that. But what I want to emphasize is that, these Nigerians largely were there doing their regular businesses and were not involved in any other criminal activities as far as we are concerned, or we know.
All right. Thank you so much. We will continue to interrogate these issues. We don't have time. We have interrogated the respect that Nigerians have as far as outside our shores is concerned. But for now, we're focused on bringing our people back and giving them the dignity that they deserve. Ambassador Catherine Udida, thank you, madam, for coming on the program. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
All right. She's the Director of Migrant Affairs Department. That's it on the program. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.